Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Naruto Became Bloodthirsty Part 2. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Okay, so this year we have 6 teams, and I need 3 more jonin to teach them. Kakashi, Kurenai, and Asuma have already volunteered. Sarutobi looked around the room full of jonin and sighed when no one stepped up. Okay, I'll pick Hayama, Genma, and Riichi myself. Everyone else is out. Just as the rest of the jonin turned to go to the door, it flew open, revealing a panting Anko. Hokage-sama, I would like to train a team of genin. Between breaths, Anko said. It would be an understatement to say that Sarutobi was shocked. Anko enjoyed traumatizing people. She was the last person he would have thought of to train a group of genin. May I ask why? Anko asked the older Hokage. I saw a group of students from the academy sitting on a roof. I didn't think anything of it at first, but when I saw that it was the village Jinchuriki, the Hyuga princess, and the Aburame heir, I decided to find out why such an odd group was together. I followed them around all day, and I was impressed by how they treated each other and their classmates. Shinobi are supposed to follow their instincts, and something tells me that those 3 could be the best team this year, maybe even better than the Sannin, so I want to train them. Anko replied. So, this is a new turn of events. The teams had already been made, so I was just going to give sensei to one of them right away. So, I guess we'll talk about it now. Hayama, you will teach Team 1, Genma will teach Team 2, and Riichi will teach Team 4. Since this talk has nothing to do with your teams, you can all leave. Pick them up at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The 3 jounin listened to what Sarutobi said and then left the room. Okay, since the last 3 teams will change, I'll talk about this with you 4. Team 7 was supposed to have Sasuke Uchiha as the best student, Shikamaru Nara as the worst, and Hinata Hyuga as the best student Kakashi had taught. Then, Asuma would have taught Naruto Uzumaki, Kiba and Yuzuka, and Ino Yamanaka. Since the Ino clan had Jutsu and Naruto and Kiba were the best at sneaking around, they would have been infiltrators. Shino Aburame, Choji, and Sakura Haruno would have been on Team 10, and Kurenai would have taught them Jinjutsu. Shino and Choji have clan jutsu, and Sakura has great chakra control, so Kurenai could have taught her Jinjutsu to capture them. Anko, I'd like to know what teams you're thinking about. What Sarutobi said. Team 7 could be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba and Yuzuka. They could put Kakashi in charge of an attack team. I could teach Naruto Uzumaki, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga, who are all on Team 8. We could be a killing squad. Kurenai stopped Anko before he could get very far. Anko, your team only has one person who is good at killing people, and that is Naruto. Shino's bugs are more for controlling enemies than killing them, and I've known Hinata since she was a little girl. She just doesn't have it in her to kill. You may have been right about Hinata in the past, but I saw her today in a fight, and when she won, she looked like she was ready to kill. Shino's clan attacks are more for controlling people than killing them, but they can kill, and I can teach him other ways to kill. The last team would be Asuma's students Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akamichi. Their father's ability to work as a team was legendary. It would be a shame to waste a group that gets along so well on its own. Anko told Sarutobi, and she nodded. While the jounin waited, the Hokage thought for a moment about the teams Anko had suggested. Kakashi, do you have any problems with the teams that Anko chose? Sarutobi asked the jounin with silver hair, who was reading a copy of Ika Ika at the time. Hiruzen looked at his son Asuma, who also shook his head, and then at Kakashi. The team will probably be changed, though. Anko, you will teach the 8th group. All of you are free to go, and teachers should pick up their students at 1. Everyone in the room nodded and left. Why can't things in this village just be easy? As the jounin walked away, Sarutobi was confused. Naruto thought deeply as he walked to the academy. I wonder who will be on my team. Hinata and Shino would be the best teammates, but I'll have to work with Yuzuka and Haruno instead because of my terrible luck. Honestly, whoever let that banshee with pink hair become a ninja should die. If I ever meet that person, I will kill them slowly myself. Naruto kept thinking about the possible team until he got to school. When 2 loud shouts came from the door, they broke him out of his thoughts. First, as Sakura and Ino burst through the door, they yelled. Naruto ignored their argument and walked over to his seat, but Sasuke stopped him. He was wearing his Hitai-8 over medical gauze on his forehead. What Uchiha? Naruto asked, but he didn't seem interested. This will cost you. I just want to let you know, Sasuke growled, pointing to his forehead. Naruto was about to answer, but someone who was trying to get by the group of fangirls bumped into him. Naruto and Sasuke both realized at the same time that they were going to hit each other in a bad way, and their eyes grew as big as saucers. Even though Naruto was surprised, he was still able to act, and the blonde switched places with one of his classmates. Naruto's jutsu made the area the two were in fill with smoke. When the smoke cleared, everyone in the room gasped, and then Sasuke's fangirls sighed in disappointment. No, Sakura moaned. When the smoke cleared, Sasuke and Ino were kissing. Ino was having a good time, but Sasuke was too shocked to say anything. At that moment, Iruka walked into the room. When she saw Sasuke and Ino, she stopped in her tracks. Iruka got better and coughed to get everyone's attention. He also interrupted Ino and Sasuke's moment. Both had red cheeks and looked just as confused as each other. Okay, your teams will be given to you today, and your Jounin sensei will be given to you. Team 1. Iruka began, but Naruto turned to Hinata and Shino. Are you both set? Naruto asked. Hinata nodded, but Shino looked at her and gave her a curious look, so Naruto told her what was going on. Now that we're ninjas, we'll get missions to protect, find, kill, and do other things. Are you ready for that? Naruto asked. I think my skills are good enough, but if they aren't, my Jounin sensei will help me train so I can get better. Shino spoke up. Naruto. Iruka called out. The blonde sighed because his conversation was cut off. Naruto said yes and turned to face his angry sensei. Listen up, I'm putting people on teams. Iruka yelled while staring at Naruto. Did you already call me? Iruka just shook his head when Naruto asked. I don't see a problem with that. Iruka rolled his eyes. Team 7 will be Kiba and Yuzuka, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. As soon as Iruka said Sasuke, the room filled with angry groans. Sakura jumped up on her desk and started to cheer. To the surprise of many, Ino didn't say much more than a small sigh. Excuse me. As I was saying, Team 8 will be Shino Abure, Hinata Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki. The reactions to the people on Team 8 were much calmer than the reactions to Team 7. Shino nodded, Hinata smiled softly, and Naruto didn't say anything. Finally, Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamichi. After an hour for lunch, you're all free to go back to this classroom, where your Jounin sensei will pick you up. Iruka said this before she and the new genin left the classroom. Where would you like to eat lunch? As the three of them left the academy, Naruto asked, why? I don't care about anything. Hinata nodded her head to show that she agreed with what Shino said. How about we go to Ikaraku's? Even though the group was already going in that direction, Naruto said. Naruto, you're back, and you've brought your old friends with you. As the new genin walked into the ramen stand, I said. Naruto nodded and sat down with Shino and Hinata on either side of him. What are your orders? I asked as she seemed to pull a piece of paper and a pen out of thin air. Like always, Naruto said. Hinata asked softly, V vegetable ramen, P please. Before the group started talking about their team, Shino said, miso ramen. After they ate, the team walked back to class while still talking about how good they were as a group and as individuals. As soon as they walked in, they saw that they were the last team to return. Wow, you losers, what took you so long? Kiba yelled to Sasuke and Sakura that he was now sitting with them. In Yuzuka, I didn't kill you because I told my brother I wouldn't kill other students at the academy. What you don't understand is Naruto raised his arm, and an chakra arm shot toward Kiba and pinned him against a wall. We are no longer in school, so I can do what I want. Naruto slowly started to close his hand, which made the pressure on Kiba get tighter and tighter. Soon, Kiba could no longer breathe because of the pressure, and the young genin's color began to change because he couldn't get enough air. Just when everyone thought Naruto was going to kill Kiba, Hinata put her hand on his shoulder to distract him. And Naruto-kun, please don't kill him, she asked, barely able to keep from blushing because she didn't want to touch him. After looking at her for a moment, Naruto turned back to Kiba. The blonde glared at the Inuzuka and slightly tightened his grip. But in the end, he let go of it. I'm not going to let you live again, mutt. Naruto spit as he walked to his seat, with Shino and Hinata close behind. As soon as Naruto sat down, he saw everyone looking at him. Their faces showed fear, shock, surprise, and even anger. Naruto gave the room a mean look before rushing into it. I see that none of you got the idea that what I said was about all of you. I won't be kind to any of you again, so don't look at me or I'll make sure I'm the last thing you see before you die. Naruto growled and then let out the killer intent. Immediately, people stopped looking at the angry Jinchuriki. After 10 minutes, Iruka walked into class with a big smile on his face to greet all of his students. It's been fun to teach all of you. The last 4 years have been fun, and I'm sure you'll grow up to be great ninjas who make our village proud. I think this is the best group of ninjas I've seen since Aruka was talking when the door flew open and hit her in the face. Teammate, this is Anko Mitarashi. I want you three to be at training ground 44 in 5 minutes. If you're late, you might as well not show up at all. Before Anko ran out of the room, she yelled. She was exactly what Yamato said she would be. Naruto said as a smile spread across his face. I think this will be fun. What did you mean, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked in a low voice. You'll see, Naruto said. He then grabbed the two, and all three of them disappeared in a column of fire. Wow, that's impressive. Who among you knows the Shunshin? Sitting on a branch, Anko asked. When Naruto put up his hand, Anko laughed. You learned it from Yamato. Naruto nodded. Did he talk about me to you? Naruto nodded again. Then I'll try to live up to your hopes. Anko smiled in response. Okay, I guess we should start with introductions. My name is Anko Mitarashi. I like both dango and interrogating, especially the part where you torture people. I dislike snake bastards and traitors. My dream is to be in charge of the part of Anbu that tortures and questions people. You're next, blonde. Anko said this while pointing at Naruto. The name's Naruto Uzumaki. I like to kill, spend time with people I care about, and eat ramen. I dislike most everything else. My dream, I don't really have one. Naruto spoke up. A little murderous, but you're up next, princess. Anko said this as he pointed at Hinata. My end name. Hinata had just begun when Anko cut her off. The stuttering stops right now. If you stutter, I will either not pay attention to you or make you start over. Some people might find it cute, but I will only train strong, independent kunoichi like you, and we both know that you are. Anko replied, smiling at Hinata. Hinata gave a nod and then took a breath. My name is Hinata Hyuga. I'll like. Hinata said before she was again cut off. Hinata took a second breath and began again. My name is Hinata Hyuga. I like pressing flowers, cinnamon rolls, and my friends. I don't like people who think less of other people. My dream is to be a strong clan leader who brings my family's two houses together into one. Hinata smiled as she was done. Now, wasn't it hard? What's up, Mysterio? Asked Anko. I go by the name Shino Aburame. I like insects, training them, and learning about them. People who kill bugs for no good reason bother me. My dream is to find and breed different kinds of bugs to put in my hive. Shino droned. Okay, now that that's over with, I've got a test. Anko said something back and then pointed to the cage-shaped part of the forest next to her tree. That's the forest of death. If you pass my test, she will be your home away from home. But we won't be using her today. Today, your test is to find me and kill me without me knowing you're there until it's too late. With a smile, Anko said, W.Y. Hinata began. So, what did I say? Anko teased him. Hinata nodded in understanding. Why would we kill you, Anko-sensei? Hinata asked. Oh, you'll be killing a copy of me made out of shadows. You'll take turns deciding who wants to go first. Anko asked the question, and Naruto was the first to answer. Whenever you're ready, Anko said as he made a shadow copy and sent it running away. Naruto jumped into the trees to find the clone, but he stopped after not going very far. Let's see how I can kill her with something exciting that I haven't done in a while. I have it. Naruto whispered while his smile grew. Then Naruto kept looking for the clone. He finally found her standing guard in a small clearing. Naruto jumped down from the tree without being seen and started to pull Kyuubi's chakra out. Naruto's arms were wrapped in chakra before he slammed his hands down on the ground. Nothing happened for a moment, but then 4 chakra arms shot up from the ground under Anko. Slowly, the arms began to wrap around Anko in a way that looked like 4 snakes. Anko tried to fight, but the chakra arms had a much too strong hold on her. Once all 4 limbs had reached her shoulders, they split in half and wrapped around Anko's arms. Then they stopped, as if they were thinking about what to do next. When her body was pulled into the ground up to the neck, the clone of Anko could only gasp. Naruto walked into the clearing just as his chakra arms were coming back to his body and starting to flow back into his body. Naruto laughed as he pulled out a trench knife and put the blade right on her head. I guess I'll pass, Naruto said before putting his wind chakra into the blade and cutting her in half with it. Naruto walked back to the group and made fun of Anko as he did so. I've seen better, but you tried hard and got a passing grade. Anko replied, Princess, I want you to leave now. Hinata, who was Anko, made a copy of herself and sent it away. Hinata used her Byakugan to find her when she got the go-ahead to leave. She found her in a clearing not far away. Hinata stopped 20 meters behind Anko's clone before chasing after the clone. How will I kill the clone? All of my Juken attacks need to be close, but she will find me before I can get close enough. Since she is a jonin, a kunai or shuriken wouldn't work. I need to set a trap, but I don't know what to do. I could try a genjutsu, but I don't know very many. Then I might as well go with my favorite. Hinata grinned as she thought about what she would do. The young heiress started making a series of hand signs, then stopped and whispered, "Demonical illusion, butterfly evolution." A single butterfly flew into the area where the clone of Anko was, but she didn't care about it and kept looking for Hinata. Soon, another butterfly flew, and then another. Over the next few minutes, more and more butterflies flew into the clearing. Anko didn't realize how wrong she was until she was pulled underground and a single butterfly landed on her nose. The butterfly flapped its wings, and as if that was a sign, the butterflies turned into exploding tags and blew up. Hinata used her Byakugan to look around the area before going back to the clearing. "Did you learn that from Kurenai?" Anko asked. "Yes, she has taught me a few, and that was one of my favorites." Hinata spoke up. "Ask her if she can keep teaching you them, since these two and I will be heavy ninjutsu users. Your ability to use genjutsu will be a huge help. Now all we need is a healer, and we could be Konoha's biggest threat. Shino, you're up," Anko said before he made a copy of himself and sent it away. Shino followed Clone for a moment, but stopped when he was out of the group's sight. He put his hand on a branch and said, "Secret technique, insect gathering." Shino's hand sent out a web of chakra, and soon many insects swarmed around his hand. Shino gave Anko a nod, picked up 2 black widow spiders, and followed him. He put them in a tree and told them to bite Anko when he found him. The spiders went to a branch above Anko and climbed up it. Then they dropped onto her head, climbed down to her neck, and bit her. Anko pushed one away and reached for another. "If that's your plan, I'm sorry. I handle snakes so I'm immune to simple spider venom." Anko spoke up. "They didn't mean to kill you with those bites." Shino's voice was heard calling. "What?" Anko answered, but then she saw that a lot of bugs were crawling up her legs. She tried to brush them off, but that just made the bugs stick to her arms even more. In a few more seconds, she was covered in bugs and losing strength. As the exhausted clone fell to the ground, Shino walked up to her and took a kunai from her back. He stabbed Anko in the head without stopping. Shino put his kunai back in his pouch and walked back to the rest of the group. "Well, I just happened to find 3 small killers that were very mean. It will be fun to meet her at 4 in the morning tomorrow." Before she left in a leaf shunshin, Anko said. Naruto said as he left in his fire shunshin, "Tomorrow. It looks like we might need to learn that jutsu or it will be very hard to keep up with our sensei and teammate." Shino said this while looking at the places Naruto and Anko had just been. Hinata nodded to show that she agreed and then looked toward her house. "I need to leave. See you tomorrow, Shino-kun." Hinata said something and then left. Shino also gave a simple wave and then walked home. "Welcome to your first day of boot camp, you worms. For the next 2 months, you will live in the forest behind me. I'll make sure that by the time we leave, you're either half dead and need more medical help than anyone else in Konoha, or you're stronger than the average jounin. But before we leave, we have to get my gifts out of the way." Anko yelled, and the 3 tired genin did wake up. Anko smiled and reached into her trench coat to pull out a scroll. She never stopped smiling as she opened the scroll and a big box fell out. What did Anko Klaus bring all the good boys and girls? "We have chakra weights for Hinata and Shino, and a lump of coal for Naruto." Anko took 2 boxes out of the crates and gave them to Hinata and Shino. They looked at the boxes before opening them. Then, Anko pulled out a piece of coal and threw it at Naruto. Shino's box had a set of weights that looked like armor, just like Naruto's, except that Naruto's were solid black. Shino's were silver, and his chainmail wasn't sleeveless like Naruto's. Instead, it was a t-shirt. Hinata's weights, on the other hand, looked like clothes and jewelry. Inside her box were 2 wrist weights that looked like charm bracelets and had charms of a heart, the Konoha symbol, Hinata's family crest, a red swirl, and a fox on each one. There were also 2 matching ankle bracelets and a black low-cut chainmail tub top. "Sensei, why do Shino and my weights have armor on them, but Hinata's are just jewelry?" Naruto asked. "For 2 reasons. First, your weights are armor, so they don't look like weights. When you take off the weight and get faster in some way, this will confuse your enemies. Naruto, your weight will be easy to see because of the clothes you wear. Shino's weight, on the other hand, will be hidden by his clothes, so people won't be suspicious of you two for wearing similar clothes." As she looked through the box, Anko said, "My second reason is that Hinata doesn't really need armor because of how she fights. Because she is small and naturally flexible, she will be better at dodging than blocking." "I have more things now," Anko said as she pulled 3 pieces of paper from her purse. "During your 2 months, we might start to work on these, but for now, I want each of you to know which chakras you are drawn to. Just give them more chakra. Anko gave the papers to her students, and each of them put some chakra on it. Shino's paper broke into pieces, Hinata's got wet, and Naruto's broke in half. Shino, I already knew Naruto was wind. It's not surprising that the Aburame family is usually earth, but Hinata's is strange. Most Hyuga are also from the earth, which is where the fighting style came from. You're different, but I'll tell you more about that later. Hinata gave a nod, and Anko shut the box. Okay, the other things will come at different times. For now, I'll show you how to climb trees. Anko said something as he turned toward the gate. Anko-sensei, I know it. Hinata said she was going to freeze Anko. Know it? You too. Anko looked at Shino and Naruto and asked. Shino and Naruto both nodded. Does everybody know water walking? Everybody nodded. Can fights happen on water? Once again everybody nodded. Can you all fight on a branch while hanging upside down? No one answered. Okay, I guess that's what we're going to do today. Let's go into the woods. Anko said, I'm going to turn around and open the door to the training ground. As he did so, as they walked, 3 of the genin were on edge right away. Even Naruto was scared of the place because it made him feel like he was being chased. Anko smiled, and he knew what Trio would do without even looking at them. Don't worry, the really dangerous things only come out at night. Right now, you only have to worry about big bugs and plants that eat people. Anko stopped talking when she thought they were far enough into the forest. I want you all to climb those trees and stand on a branch upside down. Oh, Hinata and Shino, you need to change into your clothes. Also, take off your coats. I don't want you to pass out right now. Shino gave a hesitant nod and walked away to change, but Hinata stopped and looked like she was about to say something. But Anko stopped her. You're now a Kunoichi, and no matter how you feel about your body, you'll have to show it off at some point to finish a mission. I just want to make sure that you're ready for that, princess. Now go change, and don't put the coat back on. Hinata sighed as she was getting ready to change. Anko looked over at Naruto. That also applies to you, blonde. Naruto sighed and took off his jacket and black t-shirt, leaving him with only his sleeveless chainmail shirt on. The blonde looked at Anko and saw that she was pointing up, so he climbed one of the huge trees and stood on one of its thick branches upside down. Fight with my shadow clone, but don't use Kyuubi's chakra. Anko yelled as one of his clones ran up the tree. When the clone was upside down on the branch, Naruto moved back to get some space, but he ended up falling to the ground. Anko laughed as the blonde got mad at himself for being so stupid. Hinata and Shino put on their chainmail tops and walked back. It was obvious that they were moving slowly. Shino's wrist guards kept most of the blood off his arms, but Hinata was a different story. The Hyuga heiress was very red and had her arms over her stomach to hide it. Hinata showed so much skin that she looked like she was about to pass out. I forgot that this is harder because you have to stay in touch with the tree at all times or you'll just fall down. Now, each of you should try. We won't move on until you can fight my clones without stopping for at least 20 minutes. Anko told Hinata and Shino that ignoring her made them angry and embarrassed, and then she made 2 more clones for them. 4 days later. Wow, that's impressive. Most Chunin can't get this done in an hour, but I thought you 3 could do better. Anko called out to her students as she watched them fight her clones. Just as she was about to tell the 3 to stop, Hinata hit the clone with a fatal blow, which caused it to break apart. Shino and Naruto both got more angry when they saw this, and they soon both got rid of their clones. All 3 of them fell down and landed near Anko at the same time. Okay, now that that's over with, it's time to work on being a team. Before he opened a scroll to show the crate, Anko said. The snake summoner opened the box and took out a 3-strapped metal ring about the size of a wristband. Anko waved for the 3 of them to come over, and then she put each strap around the waist of one of them. Now, I'll never take these away before the end of 2 weeks, so keep each other alive. Naruto, you can't use Kyuubi's chakra, Shino no manipulating native insects, and Hinata no Byakugan. Now, to make matters worse, Anko started making a series of hand gestures and slamming her hand on the ground. When the smoke cleared, there were at least 100 snakes in the area. They ranged in size from the size of a person to the size of a whole house. Anko stood on top of the biggest one and murmured while taking deep breaths. Dinner. When it looked like the snakes laughed and charged at them, the 3 genin's eyes grew wider. The 3 jumped away, but they lost their balance and fell on one of the snakes. The team tried to get up, but it was hard for them because of how small the ring was. Then a second snake slithered on top of the first one. Oh, what the hell? Naruto yelled and grabbed Hinata and Shino's arms. He then did a fire shunshin, and the 3 of them were gone. Anko laughed as the snakes slithered away to find food. It's going to be fun for the next 2 weeks. Now it's time to go see the show. Before going to the tower in the middle of the forest, Anko said. I'll kill her, he said. Naruto growled as he, Hinata, and Shino sat on a branch to hide from Anko's army of snakes. I also think our sensei's ways of training are odd. Shino said something. I think Anko's sensei mean well. Hinata said this to try to calm down her teammates. Just as she said it, though, a huge snake slithered onto the branch they were on and hissed, making the kids groan. They carefully got up, but the snake kept coming toward them and slowly wrapped itself around the branch. Naruto whispered, "On my signal, jump left," as he took out his trench knives. Just as the snake was about to strike, Naruto used wind chakra and cut the end of the branch that the snake was on away from the rest of the tree. "Jump," he yelled just as the branch started to fall. The team jumped and landed in a river nearby. These next 2 weeks are going to be hard. Naruto was grumpy. Hinata and Shino both nodded to show they agreed. With a lot of trouble, the three of them made it to the shore and started walking carefully through the forest. They couldn't jump over branches without Naruto's shunshin, and they were on the lookout for any of Anko's snakes. "I think we should make a plan," Shino said this as they crept through the forest on the ground. "That would be the best thing to do," Hinata answered, but then a group of huge lions surrounded them. "Here's how it works. Stop running and kill these simple animals," Naruto yelled out of anger. Shino and Hinata both nodded, and Shino took out a kunai while Hinata went into the Juken stance. Naruto took out both of his trench knives and started to give them wind chakra. Shino was being attacked by one of the lions, but the bug user was ready. As he reached out his hand, bugs flew out of his skin and landed on the lion. Naruto said, "I'll finish it," as the cat fell to the ground trying to get the bugs off. Naruto killed the beast by slicing its stomach open with his wind-powered knives. Hinata yelled, "Watch out," because the move had left him open to a lung from another lion. But Hinata moved to defend himself and hit the lion in the jaw with an open palm. The move killed the lion and sent it flying over the group, but Shino grabbed its tail and sent it flying into another lion. The last lion roared, and they all ran at once. "Don't do it," Naruto barked. Hinata and Shino fell to the ground, and Naruto added more chakra to his knives. He then made a wide sweeping motion over the heads of both of his teammates, killing the last 2 lions. "Finally," said Anko's voice from above, "I thought you kids would never stop running. Now all you have to do is get to know each other well enough that you won't have to talk." Naruto snarled and got ready to attack. But Anko started making more hand signs. Again, she called up lots of different sized snakes and told them to attack the kids. Naruto yelled, but that was a mistake because the people she had called earlier were already there. When the genin saw there were so many enemies, they knew they had no chance of winning. They ran away, killing any snakes that came after them. "I'll kill her slow. Shino, be careful," Naruto yelled as a snake jumped from a tree at the Aburame. Shino ducked, and Naruto hit the snake in the nose, which made it move away. Shino called out Hinata and threw a kunai right by her head, hitting a snake in the eye and getting rid of a summoning at the same time. As the 3 people moved, the snakes slowly stopped following them. When they stopped, the snakes decided to strike later. "She is mad," Naruto grumbled as he held a wound that had been bit by a snake and was healing. Shino nodded while Hinata took care of his small wounds. This Hinata didn't answer when their sensei asked for help. As she tried to help herself and her teammates with the first aid kit she kept in a scroll in her weapon pouch, she was also getting hurt. This made the young Kunoichi work in silence, but as soon as she was done, Naruto let out a loud groan that broke the silence. "We need to go find food by hunting," Hinata said this as Naruto put his hand on his belly. The 3 got up and started looking for food in the forest. As the sky got darker, the team's lack of food started to bother them, but then they saw a deer that was as big as 4 people. Naruto told everyone to be quiet as he took out a kunai and showed the others what to do. Hinata, shoot for the head, Shino, aim for the body, and I'll go for the throat. Then Naruto put up his free hand and stopped. The deer's head went up to look around, but as soon as it did, Naruto put his hand down, and the 3 of them threw their kunai. All of the weapons hit the deer at the same time, killing it before it even hit the ground. The 3 of them walked up to the animal, took out their weapons, cleaned them, and then started to skin the deer. "Why did we all have to hit the deer, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked. "Just in case its fur was thick enough to stop our kunai," Naruto spoke up. Hinata nodded, and she kept skinning the animal as she did so. After they were done, they lit a fire, cooked the deer, and ate it in relative silence. "Okay, who wants to watch first?" Naruto asked as he took a scroll out of his bag. When I opened it, I saw a small stack of blankets. The blonde gave everyone 2 and then sealed up the rest. "I will. I'd like to read some scrolls that I just got," Shino replied, then took a scroll out of his back pocket, opened it, and saw more scrolls inside. As Naruto and Hinata went to bed, Shino read his scrolls, occasionally looking up to make sure it was still safe. After 13 days, well, Anko is finally going to set us free tonight. but there are still about 100 of those snakes left. I say we should go kill everyone. As the three genin jumped through the trees, Naruto said, "Could you tell me why?" Shino spoke up. "Well, I've got something to say about the walking purses. I want to see all of their blood on the ground of this forest." Naruto gave a growl. "Shino-kun, I think it would be a good test of how well we work together," Hinata added. Shino did nothing but sigh and nod. Naruto changed course, and Hinata kept up with him as he led his team to the area they called the Snake Pit. When they were not looking for the three genin, Anko's summons lived in this part of the forest. The Snake Pit was the bottom of a small plateau next to the river that was made long ago by someone practicing earth jutsu. The group was careful not to wake up any snakes when they walked on the branch. Naruto stared at the many snakes until one of them caught his eye. A large king cobra slept in the shade of the plateau. It was easily taller than a one-story building and so long that its whole body couldn't be seen from the clearing. Naruto's glare got stronger when he saw the snake, and he almost killed it with just a look. When Hinata and Shino saw what Naruto was looking at, they put a hand on his shoulder. "You'll get your opportunity, Naruto. You will be the only one who can kill Shida." Shino spoke quietly. "Sure enough, the jerk snake swallowed me and then spit me out like I was a dead mouse. I'll kill that garter snake that has grown too big." Naruto snarled, and his eyes turned red. "Are all of you ready? When we start, there will be no way out," Shino asked. Shino knew that no one was going to back down when he saw Naruto pull out his trench knives and Hinata hold a kunai tightly in her hand. The Aburame pulled out a handmade wooden bow staff, and the group jumped into the middle of the large group of snakes. As soon as they hit the ground, Naruto took the Kyuubi's chakra and put it in his mouth. He then let out a bestial roar that reached all the way to Konoha and scared a lot of people into thinking the Kyuubi had come back. Then the killing started. The group moved as one and killed any snakes that got in their way. When someone was left open, someone else would move quickly to cover the hole. Their attacks kept going around each other as if they were made of water. As Anko had asked, no one spoke. The only sound was the hissing of snakes being killed with no mercy as the group moved around the clearing. The dance of death went on for more than an hour, even though the snake kept coming. No one missed a step, though. The only difference was that the group moved faster as they realized the dance was coming to an end. After 10 minutes, the Cobra Shida was the only snake left in the clearing. Naruto glared at the snake and then switched the wind chakra on the blades to Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto hit the metal ring with both blades, and it broke apart like glass. He then pulled the chakra out of the blades and charged the snake. Shida turned around and flattened his head and neck, making the head of the big snake look twice as wide. He then lunged at Naruto. The blonde jumped over the attack and aimed a punch at the serpent's head. But Shida used his tail to block the punch and flicked Naruto away. Naruto grabbed a branch and used his momentum to swing back to the snake. As Naruto flew to the snake, Shida lunged at Naruto and opened his mouth to swallow the boy whole. Naruto smirked and crossed his arms and channeled wind chakra into his blades before uncrossing, intent on slicing Shida in half. "Too easy," Naruto shouted, but to his surprise Shida clamped his teeth together and the wind blades were blocked by the snake's teeth, and the sound of metal impacting metal rang throughout the clearing. "No, it's not, boy," Shida hissed, startling Naruto. Just as Shida was about to attack, clapping caught the attention of everybody in the clearing. Sitting on the edge of the plateau was Anko, grinning madly. "Well done, brats, your teamwork is now flawless," Anko said as she stopped clapping. "But one question, brat. I know it goes against my training, but if you knew you could break the ring, why didn't you do it earlier?" Naruto rubbed his head and shrugged sheepishly. "I didn't think about it until just now," he stated. The other 3 humans and 1 snake sweat dropped at the blonde's response. "Wait, enough talk, I have a snake to skin." Naruto growled, looking at Shida. Said snake hissed and reeled back in anticipation. Just as the two were about to go another round, Anko grabbed Naruto and put him in a headlock. "Enough, this training is over. From now on, unless training, the snakes are your allies. Besides, Shida is far stronger than all but 2 snakes, Manda and Shida's older brother Doku. If you killed Shida, which is highly unlikely, I would only have Doku and Shida. She's so much more reliable," Anko stated, whispering the last point in Naruto's ear. "Thank you so much, Shida. You can head home now." "Of course, Miss Stress," Shida replied before leaving it a puff of smoke. "Well, you all look like shit," Anko said, addressing her charges. "Oshino has a new weapon. Hinata, what about you? Do you have or want a new toy?" Hinata shrugged. I'm not sure, Anko-sensei. Do you think I should get a weapon?" Hinata asked softly. "Princess, it's not my decision. Have you ever wanted a weapon?" Anko replied. Hinata nodded and gestured for Anko to come closer. Once Anko did, Hinata whispered something in her ear, and Anko nodded. "Alright kids, behave now. Mommy Anko has some errands to do, but she'll be back at the end of this month." Until then, work on these, Anko said before tossing each one a scroll. I expect them each to be complete month and a half from now. If they're not done, we'll be reviewing the teamwork drill, but this time blindfolded, and you won't be leaving the forest until those scrolls are completed. Oh, if you need my advice or help, just open one of these and I'll be here, Anko added, tossing the group 3 more scrolls. Therefore, to mastering your elemental affinities, don't worry, I only gave you the first steps in some jutsu. Learning to master your elements takes years. Ciao, Anko stated, leaving as the genin opened their first scrolls and multiple scrolls popped out. Shino looked at the scrolls and sighed. Her methods are insane, absurd, ludicrous, ridiculous, Naruto replied. Shino shook his head. Oddly proficient, Shino replied. How so? Naruto asked. Most likely none of the other genin squads are progressing as efficiently as us, and it's due to Anko and Practical Sensei's teaching. Shino spoke up. Naruto thought about it for a moment before shrugging. Well, let's get to work, Naruto said, throwing kunai into the tree, cutting a leaf off at the stem. Naruto grabbed the leaf and soon they all got to work. Around noon, 4 Shunshin jutsus appeared in the Hokage's house, which surprised him. In front of him, a typical Konoha shinobi swirl of leaves could be seen. Behind it, a column of flames appeared out of nowhere. To the left of the flames, insects were gathering at an impossible rate and forming the shape of people. Slowly, Shunshin mist swirled to the right of the fire. When the jutsu was over, the old Hokage was almost too stunned to look at the ninja in front of him. Hokage-sama, this is Anko and teammate reporting for our first mission. Anko said this with a huge grin on her face. Naruto was standing behind her with his arms crossed and his hood up, so she couldn't see his face. Shino, who was no longer wearing his tan jacket, wore a loose black t-shirt over a long-sleeved forest green shirt. The shirt's sleeves were long enough to cover his arms all the way to the tips of his fingers. He wore black cargo pants that were loose and had green spots on them. Shino put his hidaite around his waist and used it to hold up his pants. Shino wore a mask that looked like Kakashi's. It was dark green and went from the inside of his shirt to the bridge of his nose, just below his glasses. A black metal bow staff was strapped to his back. Shino's hands were in his pockets, and he didn't have anything in particular in mind. Sarutobi was most shocked by Hinata's new clothes. Hyuga, who used to be shy and hide her body by wearing a jacket and loose capris, wasn't there. In her place was a girl wearing a cropped, form-fitting, dark purple V-neck that dropped low enough to show her black chainmail tube top. Her V-neck shirt had sleeves that went down to her forearms, and she wore 2 identical charm bracelets on each wrist. The V-neck was also cut high enough that you could see most of her stomach and a little bit of her tube top at the bottom. Hinata still wore capris, but now they were spandex instead of the loose ones she used to wear. On each of her thighs, there was a bag with weapons in it. She also had a bow and quiver full of arrows strapped to her back. Hinata was looking down, blushing heavily, and her arms were behind her back. She seemed a little nervous about how she looked now, and when she looked up, Sarutobi saw the look of a ready killer in her eyes. Anko's team had changed, but Sarutobi didn't care. He turned his attention back to Anko. Well, Anko, taking your team into the Forest of Death on their first day as genin was an unexpected move. We thought for a while that you killed them and ran away so you wouldn't have to face your mistakes. She said it with a small grin. I knew or hoped that my kids were strong enough to live in the forest, Hokage-sama. At the end, Anko said something with a nervous laugh. 3 genin dropped their sweat. Well, I just said that we need a mission, and I won't let them do D ranks. After all they've been through, it would be rude. What Anko said. Anko, I can't say that I agree with giving a team of genin their first mission at C rank. Sarutobi replied. Hokage-sama, they were in the Forest of Death for 2 months. For the first 4 weeks, the place was full of my snake summons. They could do missions rated B and A right now. Anko replied that neither she nor Sarutobi were the least bit scared by the fact that the group remembered doing the teamwork drill again while blindfolded because Hinata's bow was there. D ranks are what Anko genin are expected to do. Before we did anything serious, I even made my team do more than 50. If your group impresses me, I'll. Sarutobi began, but then a small dog jumped in through an open window. Pakun, hasn't it been a while? As the dog turned to face Sarutobi, he said. Pakun nodded and then gave a scroll to Sarutobi. As the Hokage read it, he looked sad and put down the scroll. Sarutobi gave Pakun a nod, and he vanished in a puff of smoke. She then looked back at Anko. Anko, I have a mission for you and your team that is B level. Kakashi and Team 7 were sent on a C rank escort mission, but their client lied, and it turned out that ninja were after him, the leader said. I want you to go to Wave Country and help guard the Master Bridge Builder with Team 7. Now I have an A rank mission that can't be talked about. I want you to kill the man who is to blame, a shipping magnate named Gato. If someone asks, this mission didn't happen, is that clear? Sarutobi said, his voice sounding very serious. Team 8 nodded and then left the same way they had come in. Anko stood at the front gate and watched her team as they waited for orders. Are you all ready? They both nodded at the same time. Then let's go, because our friends are in danger. Anko smiled to herself as she jumped into trees quickly and her team kept up with her. Anko doubled her speed when she decided to go for it. She couldn't stop grinning when she saw that the jonin didn't fall behind at all. If we keep going at this speed, we'll get to Wave before it gets dark. Hinata, at that point, I want you to use your Byakugan to find Team 7, and when you do, we'll all meet up with them to talk about what's going on. Is that clear? Anko asked. Hi, all three of them said at the same time. This is Anko house. Sensei's Kakashi-san is upstairs, while his team and 3 others are downstairs. Hinata said this is Team 8 landed on the coast in front of a big house. Anko nodded and went to the door, where he knocked. As soon as Sakura opened the door, the group didn't have to wait long. Who are you guys? Sakura couldn't recognize the group because Naruto had his hood up and Hinata and Shino had changed their clothes so much. We were sent on a mission to help your team protect a bridge builder, Team 8. Anko said as a short answer. Oh okay, come on in, Sakura said as she walked back to the other people, leaving the door open. She didn't ask for ID to make sure we were who we said we were, Shino said as they entered the room. Yes, did Kakashi forget to talk about stuff like that? Anko asked out loud as the team was being led to the other people. When Team 8 walked into the kitchen, everyone's attention was drawn to them. Who are you? Sasuke asked. Anko was going to answer, but Sakura spoke up first. That's Team 8, Sasuke-kun. They're here to help us, Sakura replied. HN, we don't need reinforcements. They don't help me at all. With a snort, Sasuke said. Wait, isn't that Team 8? Naruto, Shino, and Hinata are on that team, aren't they? Kiba said, looking at Hinata while he talked. Hinata moved behind Naruto and Shino because she didn't like the way he looked at her. Both of them turned to look at Kiba. Watch out, Mutt, or I'll take out your eyes myself. Naruto snarled, and his eyes flashed red and came out from under his hood as he threatened. Shino nodded, and you could hear a low buzzing coming from him. I'm perfectly allowed to look, so you and Bug Boy can stop fighting. Kiba responded. She doesn't want you looking. Be glad we're on a mission, or I'll kill you right now. Naruto replied, and he meant what he said about killing him. Kiba turned pale, but he didn't give up. I've felt worse killer intent. Yours is awful, Kiba said as he gave Naruto a dirty look. Before Kiba knew what was going on, he felt something cold press against his neck, an area all men fear to lose. Kiba took a quick look to his right and saw Hinata. I'll tell Kiba-san this once. Don't look at me like that again, or I'll castrate you. She spoke quietly in his ear, but what she said was as cold as ice. If you insult my team again, I'll make you wish you had never been born. Kiba slowly nodded, being careful of the kunai that was still around his neck. Hinata put her kunai away and walked back to her team, ignoring Anko, who was smiling wildly. Okay, let's talk to Kakashi, Anko answered, and the two teams walked up the stairs. Kakashi sighed as he saw Team 8 walk into his room, and then his own team walk in after them. The infamous sharing in Kakashi, what a mess you've gotten yourself into. Someone has lost their skills if they are stuck in bed and can't move. Anko said, I'm trying so hard not to laugh, but I'm failing miserably. Anko, it's been a while, but the last time I checked, you're still just a special jounin, so try to respect your leaders. Kakashi replied, but Anko just laughed again. Wrong, Kakashi. When the brats died, I was promoted to full jounin. Hokage-sensei said that he had been wanting to move up for a while, but there hadn't been a good chance until I took over his team. So, we have been equals for a long time. But putting aside the niceties, what is your status? Anko answered, and her voice got more serious as she spoke. Well, as you can see, everyone is fine except me. The Ninken of Kiba is also hurt, so he won't be able to help us at all. We ran into Zabuza Mamachi, the missing ninja, and I had to use Sharingan to beat him. I think he is still alive and will be ready to fight again in about a week. Kakashi explained. I see. Will you be ready to fight then? Anko asked and Kakashi nodded. Well, you're the more experienced jounin, so what do you think we should do? I think the best thing to do would be to make sure the genin are ready. Zabuza has a partner who is probably skilled enough to fight them. Give me a stick, Kakashi answered. The group followed the jounin who was walking slowly outside and into the forest for a short distance before stopping in a large clearing. Today, we'll learn how to climb up trees, Kakashi stated. That's easy, Kakashi-sensei. Kiba answered. Kakashi added, without your hands. Both teams looked shocked, but Kakashi had no idea that it was because of two different things. Kakashi decided to show them, so he walked up a tree until he was upside down on a branch. You do this by putting chakra in your feet so you can stick to the branch. Like this, Kakashi-san? Hinata asked while she was hanging upside down next to him with Naruto and Shino on either side of her. Kakashi didn't expect this to happen, so he fell off the branch and landed in a heap on the ground. This made Anko laugh so hard that she fell on her bottom. When Anko had calmed down, she looked at Kakashi in a mean way. You haven't taught your team how to climb trees yet, but you sent them on a C-rank mission. What have you been doing for the last 2 months? Anko asked in a serious tone. I had them work on teamwork, and between that and doing D-rank missions as we were supposed to have our teams do, there wasn't much time for anything else. Kakashi argued back. You can see why we didn't do D-ranks. Why take time away from training to do simple tasks? Anko replied. Kakashi rolled his eyes, but he still looked up at the genin who was on his back. Now that you know this, you three can go protect Tazuna on the bridge. Kakashi told Anko to cut him off, but that was all he did. No, there's no way in hell that my team is going to watch over some old guy while your team trains. Also, we're here to help you guys, not to protect the old man. You and I will be the only ones to watch over him while my kids train. Anko answered and then threw 3 scrolls to her team. Naruto, make a clone. If there's trouble, the clone will tell you, and you can get Team 7 and come back to us. Naruto nodded and made a clone, and Anko did the same thing. My copy will tell you what to do, so go. Team 8 and the clone walked forward until they were out of Team 7's sight, and then the Anko clone stopped. The original gave you kids the first step to mastering elemental affinity, and some offensive jutsu the last time. She also gave Shino and Hinata each a clan jutsu with your clan's permission. Naruto, she gave you a jutsu she thought would help you. Since we don't have much time, she gave you each a defensive elemental jutsu. Shino and Hinata each got a defensive clan jutsu, and Naruto got a unique defensive jutsu. You have a week to learn both, or you could make the teamwork drill more fun. The Anko clone said something, which made the genin pale and start working on their scrolls right away, only to stop after 10 minutes. You know that spying on people is very rude. The clone said it to nobody in particular. Team 7 walked into the clearing a few seconds later. Is there something wrong? Naruto asked. Kiba stared at him but didn't say anything. If it's not tree walking, what are you three learning? Sasuke asked. Naruto glared at the clone and was about to say something, but the clone of Anko spoke first. They are studying jutsu. The clone said it in a calm way. Tell us about them, Sasuke ordered. Uchiha, you don't have enough control over your chakra to do these things, but even if you did, I still wouldn't show you these scrolls. Now get back to climbing trees or I'll hit your head against one. Naruto gave a growl. Is that an attack? Sasuke's voice was low as he asked. Then Naruto came up behind Sasuke and put one of his trench knives against the Uchiha's neck. Naruto whispered, no, I swear to it. Before Naruto could move, Sakura ran at him with all her might, but Hinata tripped her and pinned her to the ground. Please do not try to hit Naruto-kun, Hinata asked, but her voice was too sweet for the situation. I think you should all go before my teammates do something you won't like, I said. Shino said as he raised his sunglasses. Sasuke glared at Naruto, but as soon as Naruto let him go, he and Sakura walked away. Shino gave Kiba a dirty look when he didn't move, but Kiba didn't back down. I have a private question for Hinata. Kiba said this, but Naruto walked in front of Hinata with his arms crossed. You can ask her whatever you want in front of us. What Naruto said. Kiba snarled, but he nodded to show he agreed. Naruto moved out of Hinata's way when he was satisfied. I was wondering if you wanted to go out sometime after this mission? Hinata, Kiba asked. Kiba's question made Hinata stop in her tracks. The Hyuga heiress looked at Kiba and then at her team, but Shino, Naruto, and the Anko clone were just staring at Hinata. Hinata was about to answer when she saw Kiba staring at her. Hinata gave Kiba a soft smile and strolled over to him. The ninja with the indigo hair then leaned in close to his ear. I would, Kiba-kun, Hinata started, then stopped. Kiba held his breath in anticipation. The Inuzuka was so interested in what Hinata did that he didn't notice that the Anko clone was trying with all her temporary strength not to fall over laughing. The temperature in the clearing dropped to freezing just as Hinata opened her mouth to say something. When a knee hit Kiba in the solar plexus, he didn't have time to react. Kiba gasped for air and fell to the ground. Don't ever ask me out again, perv. Hinata answered softly, but it was clear that you were angry. Would you, Naruto-kun, please help Kiba-san get back to his team? Naruto smiled in a cruel way as he slowly nodded. When Kiba looked at the blonde, Naruto's eye flashed red from under his hood, which scared the Inuzuka. Slowly, a chakra arm wrapped around Naruto's and grew bigger as the blonde got closer. When Naruto got to Kiba, Kiba's arm was as big as Naruto. Kiba was held up in the air by an arm that moved quickly. I may not know much about women in Inuzuka, but here's some advice. When you ask them out, try to look into their eyes. After saying that, Naruto used his chakra arm to throw Kiba back to the clearing where his other teammates were. Naruto smiled when he heard a soft thud and a cry of pain. What are you spoiled brats waiting for? Get back to training. Anko's clone yelled, but he still had a smile on his face. Teammate didn't get back to Tezuna's house until after the sun went down. When the group got inside, everyone was already at the table. Anko's clone scattered when she realized she was no longer needed, and Naruto, Shino, and Hinata walked into the kitchen in a casual way, catching everyone's attention. Can I ask why you hurt Naruto, one of my students? Kiba had his arm in a sling, so Kakashi pointed to him and asked. Naruto ignored Kakashi and went straight to Anko. Sensei, do you think? Naruto had just started when Kakashi stopped him. Jen and I was telling you something. Anko, you might want to show respect to your students. Kakashi snarled. I'll ask again, why did you hurt my students? Because I wanted to, Naruto said, giving Kakashi a steady look. Then I'll tell the Hokage, and he can decide how to punish you for hurting a teammate on a mission. Kakashi replied. Naruto gave a shrug and looked back at Anko. And now that Kiba is hurt, you've put our mission in danger. I might be able to heal Kiba's wound after all. Shino spoke up. Really? Anko, Kakashi, Sakura, and Kiba asked at the same time. Hinata, Naruto, and Sasuke all just cocked their heads at what he said. Yes, while we were resting during our training in the forest, I worked on healing techniques in the human body. I have only learned a few of them, but they should be enough. Shino spoke up. Medical jutsu. Dude, that's stuff girls do. Kiba said this while laughing so hard he couldn't stop. Shino walked over quietly and went over a series of hand signs. When he was done, his hands turned blue and he tapped Kiba on the throat. This silenced the Inuzuka, which surprised everyone. Using chakra dissection blades, I cut his vocal folds apart. Shino answered, then let go of the jutsu and did another set of hand signs. After he was done, his hands lit up green, and he put them on Kiba's arm. Shino kept his hand there for a minute before releasing the jutsu and walking away from Kiba. I put the broken bones back in place and then fixed it. He ought to be fine. Shino spoke up. Everyone ate dinner and went to bed in silence because they were all shocked. The rest of the week went smoothly, and the two teams talked as little as possible until Kakashi and Anko called a late-night meeting. At the meeting, people talked about how to deal with Zabuza and his partner. The two jounin thought that Zabuza would be back to full health the next day, and that they would attack then. The next morning, when Tezuna left with the two teams, there was a lot of tension and an uncomfortable silence. You know that the unit will suffer if we don't stop this little drama. As they walked, Kakashi said, ready Ika Ika. They won't hurt our unit, but they will slow us down. Sasuke grumbled. Be careful what you say, Uchiha. Shino might take care of your loose lips the same way he did Kiba's. Naruto retorted. Shino was angry, but Sasuke didn't say anything. That strange person was lucky. He wouldn't touch me in a fight to the death. Kiba muttered. Meetings with shinobi aren't usually straight fights, as you put it. Shino spoke up. So you admit you can't beat me? Kiba said, smirking broadly. Shino didn't answer at all. The two teams kept fighting as they made their way to the bridge, which was covered in a thick fog. As the group walked onto the bridge, they started to see men lying on the ground with senbon needles stuck in them in different places. 4 ninja are standing on the bridge higher up. Hinata said that Byakugan was working. Okay, Sakura, Hinata, and Shino take care of the bridge builder. I'll take care of Zabuza. And Anko, I think you should fight what I'm calling the Demon Brothers. Sasuke, Kiba, and Naruto fight the fake hunter ninja. Kakashi told Anko to stop talking to him. I think Hinata and Shino should take care of the Demon Brothers while I help you finish off Zabuza. Also, Naruto could handle the kid in the mask, so Kiba should watch over Tezuna. Anko insisted. Kakashi replied, but he knew that no matter how much he argued, the new jounin would not change her mind. Okay, we'll use the suggestions Anko made. Kakashi said, everybody hold on. Naruto said this right before he pulsed a huge wave of chakra, which blew away all the mist. Kakashi was surprised to see that the boy looked fine afterward. That was pretty cool. A voice said something that took the group's attention away from Naruto. The kid must have a lot of chakra if he can clear all of my mist and still stand. Zabuza said this with a smile that could be seen even through the gauze he had on his mouth. This time, you won't be able to get away. Kakashi huffed and didn't care what was said. I have no plans to run. Enough talking, let's get to work, Zabuza said. He then made 5 copies of himself, only for Naruto's chakra tails to pierce them. As Naruto stood in the middle of the group of clones, his eyes lit up bright red. The clones were shocked when they saw the boy, so they turned into water and splashed down. It looks like he could be as quick as you, Haku, Zabuza said, looking at the masked ninja. Haku simple nodded. I doubt it, Naruto whispered as he stood behind them. I'm faster. Before Haku could turn around, Naruto disappeared, and a foot drilled into Haku's stomach, sending him flying away from Zabuza and the Demon Brothers. Kid never held back what he said. Mizu and Guzu stopped Anko's charge at Zabuza after she said something offhand. Just as the two got closer to her, Shino appeared between them and hit Mizu on the head with his staff. Guzu then turned to Shino and was about to attack him with his clawed gauntlet when an arrow hit the metal arm and knocked him away from Shino. Anko turned back to Zabuza and smiled at her. It looks like my team has gotten the point. She ran at Zabuza again, and when she felt Kakashi behind her, she laughed. I'm impressed with how fast you are, you're faster than me. Haku said that Naruto should use a kunai to stop one of his trench knives. Haku then jumped in, with his other hand, threw the senbon at the blonde. Naruto was gone before they could get to him. Haku then turned around and threw the kunai behind him, making Naruto jump over the blade. Then, after Sasuke kicked him, Haku jumped into the air and backhanded the boy in the face. You want to fight me, too? As Sasuke got up after getting hit and jumped back, Haku said. Before Haku could land, a foot hit the top of his head and sent him crashing down onto the bridge. Haku rolled to the side just in time to avoid the wind blade that cut through the concrete where he was standing. Interesting technique. If you put your wind affinity chakra into your trench knives, they will turn into wind blades. Haku stated aloud. Naruto didn't answer and went away. Haku stood up and put up his arm to block Sasuke's punch. You need to hurry up. Haku kept droning on, not even noticing the Uchiha. Sasuke growled before grabbing Haku's forearm. Sasuke then pulled the boy in and kneed him in the stomach, sending Haku backwards. Naruto then appeared above Haku and put his foot into Haku's stomach. When Haku hit the bridge with his sword, the force was so strong that it broke the concrete. Haku got up slowly, but Naruto didn't give him any time to recover. He attacked the boy right away with a barrage of punches, kicks, and knees that were made stronger by his trench knives. When Naruto was done, he hit Haku in the face with a haymaker, which sent the boy sliding across the bridge. Haku got back up, and his broken mask fell to the ground. Before attacking the boys, Haku coughed up some blood. A few meters later, Haku stopped and made a series of hand signs. When he was done, water rose from the river ocean below them and surrounded Naruto and Sasuke. In order to get ready, Naruto's chakra tails came out from behind him. The water changed quickly into many mirrors, and Haku walked into one of them. All of the mirrors showed Haku right away. I am sorry, but you are going to die here, Haku stated. Mizu, these new players think they can beat us, Guzu told Hinata and Shino as he and Mizu stood across from them. Hinata had an arrow ready and was waiting for one of them to move. Shino, on the other hand, had his bow in both hands to protect himself. Yes, brother, you're right. Let's prove to them that they are wrong, Mizu said. Guzu and I are going to attack Hinata and Shino, and they did. Hinata took a step back and let her arrow go. When the arrow hit the chain, it broke instantly. The brothers of the demons growled, but they kept going. Shino turned his bow around, and when they were close enough to hit, he swung it up and hit Mizu in the knee. Shino then used the other end to stab Guzu in the chest. Before either could say anything, 2 arrows went right through their eyes. That's strange. I thought 2 Chunin level ninja would be a tougher opponent. Shino said that, but when he looked at the bodies, he saw that they had turned into water. Shino turned around and saw that Hinata's brothers were coming at her with the intention of cutting her into pieces. Shino put chakra into his bow, which turned into a sharp point made of earth. Shino then threw his weapon, which had turned into a spear, at the chain. Hinata turned around and saw the spear hit the chain just a few inches from her. The spear hit the ground hard and went almost a foot deep into the concrete. Hinata looked at the demon brothers and kicked Guzu in the face. She dodged Mizu's swipe at her and added chakra to her bow, which turned its limbs into water blades up to the handle. Hinata swung one end of the bow at Mizu's knee, and it cut right through. As he fell to the ground, Mizu cried out in pain. As soon as Mizu hit the ground, Hinata used the other limb with a blade to cut off his head. Mizu, I'll kill you, bitch. Guzu growled and ran at Hinata, but he stopped and let out a gasp. Guzu looked down and saw the spear point sticking out of Shino's chest. Like I said, I thought a Chunin level shinobi would be a tougher opponent, Shino said as he pulled his spear out of Guzu's chest. Shino pulled his chakra back as Guzu fell to the ground, and the spear's tip fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Shino walked over to Hinata and the two of them went to watch over the person building the bridge. This time, Zabuza, you won't live. We will kill you, Kakashi said, lifting his headband to show his Sharingan. I doubt it, Zabuza answered by making hand gestures. As soon as he was done, the mist around the three jounin got thicker than before. Same trick, Zabuza, Kakashi taunted. Why stop if it works? Zabuza replied, standing between Kakashi and Anko. The missing ninja swung his sword quickly at Kakashi and Anko. Kakashi was just a little too slow, and the blade cut his chest lightly. Anko, who had more time to react than Kakashi, completely avoided the attack. But Zabuza disappeared into the mist before she could attack. I know you don't think I'm serious, but you should know that, Anko said in a calm way. You might be sorry. Oh, really? Said Zabuza, who was right behind her. Anko smirked. She turned around and pulled out a kunai at the same time, ready for Zabuza to attack. Then, Anko stabbed Zabuza in the throat. But when he turned into water, he drooled. I'm getting annoyed by your cheap tricks, Anko snarled. Relax, Anko. Getting angry will only make you slopping, Kakashi stated. He's right, Zabuza said as he slashed Kakashi with his sword. Kakashi pulled out a kunai to defend himself, but Zabuza's sword still got through Kakashi's shield and into his shoulder. Kakashi bit back a yell and kicked Zabuza away. You're slipping, Kakashi. You're not much of a shinobi without that eye of yours. The voice of Zabuza could be heard through the fog. I can handle you just fine, Zabuza, Kakashi growled. Those scars on you say otherwise, Zabuza replied right behind Kakashi. Zabuza swung his huge sword even faster than before at Kakashi. The blade cut right through Kakashi like it was butter, but he turned into water and fell to the ground. The man was about to move when he heard a voice. Hidden shadow snakes. Anko screamed and pointed her arms at Zabuza. Zabuza was caught by several snakes that came out of the sleeves of her trench coat. Kakashi no, Anko yelled. Zabuza stopped moving when he heard a few birds chirping and saw a faint blue glow in the distance. Before he could do anything, Kakashi was standing in front of him with his right arm covered in blue lightning. Rekiri, Kakashi yelled and poked Zabuza in the chest with his arm. Zabuza was cut in half by Kakashi's arms. Zabuza coughed up blood as he looked down at Kakashi's arm, which was still in his chest. I didn't expect it to end this way. As blood dripped from the corners of his lips, Zabuza said. Kakashi said yes, and he took his arm off of Zabuza's chest. Zabuza was freed by Anko's snakes, and the man's dead body hit the ground with a thud. Sorry, but you are going to die here. From inside his mirrors, Haku said. Sasuke gave a smirk and began making a series of hand signs. The boy yelled when he was done. Fire style, great fireball jutsu. Sasuke took a big breath and then threw a huge fireball at the mirror where Haku was. A cloud of smoke filled the area and made it impossible to see anything. When the smoke went away, Sasuke's smile went away. There wasn't even a single burn mark on the mirror. You can't burn or break these mirrors with simple jutsu. Like I said, you will die here, Haku stated. All of a sudden, Haku was gone, and the Senbin needle started flying in many different directions. Naruto's chakra tails began to fly all over the place and block the needles that were aimed at him. Sasuke, on the other hand, couldn't do anything as needles were thrown at him, though he did manage to block or avoid a few. Your tails seem to be fast enough to stop my attacks. Why don't you help or protect your teammate? Haku asked. I'm not his babysitter, but I'm done with you. Naruto gave a growl. The chakra in Naruto's arms slowly grew until they were as big as sledgehammers. When the arms stopped growing, they quickly split into many arms and shot at all the mirrors. The red limbs hit the mirror and broke all of the pieces. Haku was thrown out of one of the mirrors by force and slid across the others. Once again, the chakra arms split into two, and one of them shot at Haku and grabbed him. He was pulled back to Naruto by an arm, and the blonde noticed that Haku's eyes looked like they were dead. Kill me, Haku asked. My pleasure, Naruto said with a cruel smile. Naruto turned his free chakra arm into a blade and cut Haku in half from the top of his head down. Naruto's smile got bigger as he got covered in Haku's blood and organs. It's been too long since I killed someone who didn't die before the story got good. Sasuke was stunned as he watched the scene. He didn't think Naruto would actually kill Haku, and the look on his face during and after the kill scared the one Uchiha. Then Sasuke looked at Naruto's pool of blood and remembered the night his family was killed. Why did you kill him? Sasuke asked, getting up and pulling the needles out of his body. He asked me to do it, and he was our enemy. Naruto spoke up. But he couldn't defend himself, Sasuke said. Are you dense? He has a Keke Genkai that lets him make and control ice, and since we are right above a huge body of water, he would never be defenseless. Naruto retorted. Why does the fact that I killed him bother you? HN was all Sasuke said in response before he turned around and went back to the others. Before he did the same, Naruto took Kyuubi's chakra away. Well, all of the enemy has been killed, Kakashi stated. Tell me about Gato, Tazuna asked. He'll just send stronger men next time. Let us handle that. Where does Gato stay? Anko asked. He lives on the other side of the island in a mansion. Tazuna responded. Let's go, teammate. Anko ordered. Hold on, we'll go with you, Kakashi stated. No, your job is to protect the bridge builder. Also, we can't leave anyone alive. Are you ready to kill with your team? Anko asked. Kakashi shrugged and shook his head. What do you mean, sensei? Our team is just as ready as theirs, Kiba argued. There is a big difference between talking about an Yuzuka and actually doing it, Naruto retorted. Kiba grunted. Enough, teammate, we have a job to do. Now let's go, Anko called out. Team 7 nodded, and the 4 of them ran off. As night fell, they got to the mansion by going through the trees. While hiding in the trees, the team could see that there were 2 guards standing on either side of the front doors. Anko whispered, Hinata. The Hyuga heiress nodded, pulled out her bow, and put 2 arrows in the nocks. Hinata waited a second, and then she let the arrows go. The arrows flew like bullets and hit both guards right in the forehead. When the bodies hit the ground, they were already dead. Let's move. Anko gave the order, and everyone moved to the door. Help us in, Naruto. Naruto nodded and made a series of hand gestures. When the blonde stopped, he thrust his hands forward and said, Wind style, big step forward. Naruto's hands shot out a strong gust of wind that blew the doors open. When the group ran in and looked around, they saw a lot of men with different kinds of weapons all around them. Clapping came from the top of the stairs before anyone moved. Well, I have to say that not many people would take a chance like you and come to my house. I'm impressed. You are all brave, and Zabuza and his men are dead because you are still alive. Gato said so. No one said a word. Well, it's a good thing the man asked for too much money. I was going to kill him anyway. I'm sorry, but I need to get back to work. Then, whoever kills them will be well paid. The men smirked meanly at the group, but Shino started making hand signs before anyone else could move. Earth style, stone spears that rise. Shino said something and then slammed his hands down on the ground. Suddenly, a lot of stone spikes shot up from the ground and stuck people. While the others were shocked, Hinata started making a series of hand signs. When she was done, Anko, Naruto, and Shino jumped into the air. Water style, water explosion shock wave. Hinata yelled and then threw up a huge amount of water. Hinata turned while she let go of the water, which picked up several people. As the men got up, they started to laugh. So you got us wet. What did that mean to do? One of them spoke up. Hinata looked down at the water that was up to her waist. She took a quick look at the door and saw that it was up a few stairs. I wanted it. Hinata got up and started skating on the water, which surprised everyone, including her own team. Hinata pulled out her bow and started shooting at the men, who couldn't get away fast enough because the water was so deep. When Naruto got the message, he took out his trench knives and started running across the water, killing the restricted goons as he went. Shino took out his bow and gave it more chakra. Both ends of the weapon became sharp, and Shino and Naruto did the same. Anko did nothing but stand on the water and watch as her team took care of the enemy. Gato tried to sneak out the door just as she was about to join. You think you're going where? As she walked up to the man, Anko asked, Who are you? Please don't kill me. I'll give you money, power, or lovers if you want them. You name it, I'll get it. Gato begged. I was going to have fun with you, but I hate people who beg. Anko answered and then took out a kunai. Gato didn't have a chance to beg, so Anko pushed the blade all the way through his head, up to the handle. Anko took out the kunai and then looked back at the fight between her and her team. She laughed when she saw all 3 of her students standing on top of Hinata's now pink pond. Well, you kids, the mission went well, so let's go home. Was the mission completed successfully? Sarutobi answered when he saw teams 7 and 8 come into his office. Yes, the mission was completed successfully. After killing the enemy ninja, Anko and her team went to Gato's mansion and killed him and all of his goons. Kakashi answered. Alright, you and Anko will have to give me mission reports later. Sarutobi explained. Well, since everyone's here, I'd like to talk about something that happened on the mission. As everyone started to leave, Kakashi said. Both teams stopped and looked back at the Hokage. The old shinobi nodded to Kakashi and motioned for the 2 teams to come back in. Go ahead, Kakashi, Sarutobi responded. Our mission when Anko and I returned to Tazuna's house, Kiba and Yuzuka was in a sling. When I asked Kiba what had happened, she only said Naruto. So, when Team 8 came back, I asked Naruto why he hurt Kiba. After ignoring me for a while, he finally told me it was because he wanted to. Kakashi explained. This is a serious claim. If you hurt a teammate, you might not only fail, but you might also die because you won't have enough people. This is especially true if you know you'll be facing enemy shinobi. Do you disagree, Naruto? Sarutobi asked. Naruto nodded. This time I won't suspend you, but next time I won't be so kind, Sarutobi sighed. Well, now that's finished, Kakashi said as he pulled his little orange book out of his bag. You don't seem upset that I'm not being punished, Naruto replied. If the Hokage was willing to let it go, so am I, Kakashi answered without waiting. Oh, I see you're surprised that I wasn't mad that the Hokage didn't punish the demon boy, as some people call him. Naruto, I don't recognize you for what you are. I see you for what you are, a good young shinobi who might turn out to be someone great someday, Kakashi said, smiling. The jounin with silver hair then walked out of the room while reading his Ika. Teammate, report to training ground 44 tomorrow at 5 a.m. Before walking out of the room, Anko said, Shunshin. Her team soon followed her lead. Team 7 took a quick look at where Team 8 had been for a few seconds before heading out the door. 3 days later, Team 8, report for another mission. No D-rank nonsense, Hokage-sama. As Anko and her team entered the mission room, she said, Anko, I know you're training them seriously, but I think you should send them on at least 10 D-rank missions before they do another C-rank mission. Sarutobi replied. They haven't done a D-rank mission yet, Iruka asked as he faced the Hokage. But this group has been out of the academy for nearly 3 months. The Chunin exams are in 2 months, and I thought Anko would be doing everything to get them ready. I'm Iruka, and I won't let my genin waste their time doing simple paid chores, Anko retorted. Fine, Anko, if you're so determined to avoid doing D-rank missions, I have one for you, Sarutobi started, but a worried Iruka cut her off. But Hokage-sama, how can you just let them skip the basics of shinobi training? Teams can work on their teamwork in a safe way on D-rank missions, Iruka argued. This is the point. I taught them how to work as a team in the Forest of Death, where hundreds of snakes I had called up were all over the place. Now, giving them a D grade would really be slamming their hard work, Anko told us. Sarutobi let out a sigh and looked at both shinobi. I will respect Anko's opinion if she really thinks that her team is ready, Sarutobi finally said. Iruka looked like she was about to have a heart attack, while Anko couldn't stop grinning. Teammate, which had been quiet during the whole argument, gave a nod of approval. Now I have a mission that your team might think is up to par. Anbu found out that 10 gang family leaders will get together in 3 weeks in a city on the southern border. Normally, this wouldn't have anything to do with us, but these groups know how to use ninja skills and send their people out as ninja mercenaries. I want you to sneak into the meeting and kill each of the leaders. Make sure that this can't be linked back to Konoha in any way. Hand over your Hitaites, Sarutobi said as he put out his hand across his desk. Team 8 gives the old Hokage their Hitaites quickly, and the Hokage pulls a manila folder out from under a stack of papers. This contains mission details. Learn it completely and then burn it. Team 8 gave a nod and walked out the door. Anko stopped the team at the door as they left the room. This is what it's all about. Unlike the last mission, you will be responsible for killing the targets. I will only offer limited support as a backup. As she read through the papers in the manila folder, Anko said. When she was done, she gave the book to Shino, who also started to read it. The genin gave the folder to Hinata, and when Hinata was done, she gave it to Naruto. When the blonde was done, he used a simple fire jutsu to burn the folder. Now let's go, we have to be in Jin by yesterday. Anko gave the order to jump off. When Team 8 looked around, they saw that they were right by the main gates. The other members of Team 8 nodded to each other and then followed Anko. The trip took about half a day. Anko talked about plans and strategies to kill the leaders while he was on the move. They paid close attention when Anko told them that they would have to be quiet because the room would be full of ninja. About half a mile away, Anko stopped them and led the group out of the trees and onto a dirt path. Before talking to her team, she gave Hinata a small box. Hinata has a lot of contact lens sets inside of it. They will hide you Byakugan eyes. Naruto, there is also special makeup you can use to hide your whiskers. Hinata nodded, then carefully opened the box and put on a pair. As the jounin put the makeup on Naruto, he did nothing but glare. Now, you 3 will be on your own from here on out. I will stand in the shadows and watch, but I won't be able to do much else. Now, remember to run away when things get bad. I will take care of things from there, got it? Anko said this as she looked at everyone on her team. Each person gave a quick nod, and after a few seconds, Anko smiled. Make me proud, brats. Before he jumped back into the trees, Anko said. Team 8 looked at each other and then continued walking to Jin. It's a lot. As the 3 of them walked into the city, Naruto said. The buildings went up to the sky, and there were a lot of people on the street. The city is pretty cool. Shino said, I agree. Hinata gave a little nod. Let's go find some clothing stores instead, because going to Yashin's mansion in this way would look strange. As Hinata looked at the many buildings, she said. Naruto and Shino nodded as the young heiress led them to a store that sold clothes. Find some simple clothes that might be able to hide weapons. I'll finish up. Hinata said this as she went to the section for women. Shino and Naruto looked at each other for a moment before going their separate ways to look for clothes. After about 30 minutes of looking at clothes, the three genin left the store. Naruto was now wearing a blue jean jacket and a black leather jacket. Shino had on a gray turtleneck with a zipper and black jeans. Hinata chose to wear khaki pants with a lavender blouse. It's getting late in the day, so we should head to our new job, Shino said as he looked up at the sky. Before they started looking for the mansion in the huge city, Naruto and Hinata nodded and agreed. Hello, and welcome to Vong Manor. Can I help the three of you? A man in an all-black suit at the door asked. My friends and I just moved to this town, and we heard you were hiring. Hinata answered. The man at the door nodded and then waved through the door. When the three people walked in, they had to stop themselves from gasping. The room they walked into was fancy. The ceiling had a huge glass chandelier hanging from it. Light danced into the room through beautiful stained glass windows that showed two armored fighters. In front of the main door was a staircase made of only glass. As light bounced off the glass staircase, it flickered around the room and made it look like it was on fire. On either side of the stairs, there was a statue of a warrior made of glass. The warriors also painted and hung tapestries and other artwork on the wall. Yashin-sama is very interested in how Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju will fight. Artwork of the two is all over the house. Come on, I'll take you to Yashin-sama if he's free. As he led them through the mansion, the man at the door said. The doorman was right. Every hallway was full of paintings, statues, tapestries, and even carvings of the first Hokage of Konoha and the most notorious Uchiha in history. The doorman finally stopped in front of a big door with a carving of Madara fighting Hashirama. Around the two, the Kyuubi's thrashing tails were carved, and the demon himself was looming over Madara and growling while glaring at Hashirama. The jerk will pay for turning me into his puppet. Naruto heard Kyuubi growling in his head. What are you saying? Kyuubi's sudden statement made Naruto wonder what was going on. It has nothing to do with you, boy. This is something between me and that cursed man. Kyuubi spat. Naruto decided not to argue with the demon fox, so he turned his attention back to the man at the door who was holding it open for the three of them. Naruto was the first one to enter, and then Hinata and Shino came in close behind. Well, I'm guessing you three are looking for work, a short, stocky man with a beard and thinning hair said. Just by looking at the man, you could tell he was rich because all of his clothes had designer labels on them. Yes, sir, my two friends and I used to work for Gato-sama, but since he died, we haven't had jobs and have been wandering around. We heard that you were looking for workers at a trading post just east of this city. We would like to find out if that is true. Hinata told us. Yashin stared at the three of them for a long time, thinking about what they had just said. Yes, there are jobs open, and I'll give you one. Gato is a close friend of mine, so I can't let three of his workers go without jobs. Lusai takes them to where people live. Yashin told them to go away. Wait, what do you call yourselves? I am Hikari Shibo. This is Kanashai Tsuki. Hinata said this while pointing at Shino. Hi, this is Bengi Yachai. Then she pointed at Naruto. Do your friends talk? Yashin asked, his eyebrows raised. In fact, sir, most of the time they don't. Hinata answered. I've known them for years, and I don't think they've ever said more than 10 words at once. Yashin gave a wary nod and motioned for them to leave. Lusai led the three of them up to a long wing of the mansion on the second floor. You two will sleep in this room together. Shino and Naruto heard Lusai say this as he opened a door on the left side of the hall. Lusai looked at Hinata as Naruto and Shino walked into the room. You, ma'am, will be sharing a room with another woman. I think she is in there right now. You three just missed dinner. Lusai then opened a door on the other side of the hall from where Naruto and Shino were. As they walked in, they saw a red-haired teen girl, maybe 6 years older than Hinata, sitting in her pajamas on her bed and reading a book. Hello, Lusai-kun. Who is she? The girl asked them with a big smile. Hikari-san is Torin Nu-san's roommate. I'm guessing that you can show Hikari-san around her new room. Lusai stated. Lusai left the room after Torin nodded. Well, as you already know, my name is Torin and I'm from Buki. If you didn't already know, I'm the head maid for Yashin-sama. Torin said this with pride in her voice. Wow, housekeeper, how did you do that at such a young age? Hinata asked. Well, Yashin-sama saw how hard I worked, and when his last housekeeper died of old age, he gave me a raise. Torin told us. Hinata gave a small nod and then looked out the window. It's getting late, we should go to bed. Hinata said it. Torin looked at Hinata and then nodded. Torin pointed to a door between the two beds and said, "The bathroom is inside that door." "Well, it looks like our target is a little bit worried about us," Shino told Naruto as he lay down on their beds. "I guess so, but it seems like he's more interested in why we don't talk," Naruto thought. Shino nodded, and the room went quiet. "Why do I feel like something bad is going to happen before we get back to Konoha?" After a small gust of wind came into the room, Shino said. For a moment, Naruto didn't say anything, but when the Aburame turned to look at him, he saw the blonde staring right back. "I do, too," Naruto spoke up. "Just watch out." During their stay, Naruto and Shino did not interact with any of the staff. After some time, rumors started to spread about the two of them. One person said that the two boys saw the destruction of their whole village, and that the experience had left them too scared to talk. Some people said that the two used to be mimes, but when they quit, they didn't stop being quiet. Another wilder said that they were trained killers who didn't talk until they were about to kill each other. Hinata put an end to most of the rumors by saying that they didn't talk because they never had anything to say. Hinata had become very well liked by the workers. Many people like her because she is kind, but they also respect how hard she works. In the short time they had been together, she and Torin had grown close. Torin took Hinata under her wing, and it was impossible to tell them apart. Some people even said they looked alike. When Hinata went to hang out with Naruto and Shino, Torin spent time with them. "Sorry, everyone, but I have a lot of important people coming over tonight, and I need to get this place ready." Yashin told all of his servants in the main entrance hall what he was going to do. "Your job is over if you do something out of place during the dinner," Hinata said quietly to Naruto and Shino, right on time. "What did you say?" Torin spoke up. "I explained why the schedule was so tight." Hinata didn't hesitate at all when she answered. "I know, but Yashin-sensei always gives us things at the last minute, so get used to it." Torin told us. Hinata nodded silently before she and Torin left to make sure every room was clean for anyone who might stay the night. Naruto and Shino helped set up the ballroom. Getting everything ready took most of the day. Once Hinata was done, she went into the boys' room without Torin for once. Shino and Naruto were only wearing their boxers, and Naruto was writing a lot of seals on Shino. Hinata got a very red face and turned to face the door. "What are you and Shino-kun doing, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked, stutter returning. "Damn it," Naruto grunted. Hinata turned around and saw Naruto take some ryo out of his pants and hand them to Shino. Hinata then realized what she had done and gave her teammates a dirty look. "You and your friend made a bet that I would stutter." She said it with some irritation in her voice. "Naruto and I were talking about hiding our weapons, but it's very hard to hide something like my bow." Then Naruto said he should write a storage seal on me so I can just call it up when I need it. Then I realized that we could do that with all of our weapons, so I told him about this idea. Naruto agreed, but he said I should write in a place where no one would see them. As Naruto started writing the seals, I said that if you walked in on us while he was writing the seals, you would stutter. Naruto didn't agree, so we made a bet, which, as everyone can see, I won. Shino told the story. "Done, your kunai are on your right forearm and your shuriken are on your left. On your right thigh are kunai with exploding tags, and in the front of your left thigh are soldier pills. You can find the blood pills on the back of your left thigh. Since you write with your right hand, your bow is sealed on your right shoulder blade." Naruto said this as he started to write seals on himself. Hinata looked at the two of them for a moment before turning to look at Naruto. "Could you also put a seal on me?" she asked in a soft voice that was almost too quiet to hear. "Sure, but you know you'll have to take your clothes off, and because you're wearing a dress, I'll have to put the seals in more dangerous places," Naruto told them. Hinata looked at the bottom of her dress and understood what he meant. She was wearing a dark purple sheath dress with no back that went to the middle of her calf, and was held up by thin straps. The front of the dress dropped just enough to show a small amount of cleavage, and a slit on the left side of the dress went all the way up to her mid-thigh. She also wore 1-inch heels that matched. Hinata was embarrassed when she realized what Naruto would have to do, but she took a deep breath, nodded, and moved on. "If I can trust you and Shino-kun with my life, I can trust you with the last of my modesty." Even though she had a bright red blush, she answered. With that, Hinata took off her dress, revealing that all she had on was a pair of purple lace pants. Naruto finished putting seals on himself before putting seals on her. He looked at her dress to make sure they would be covered by it. "Okay, I'm finished. Kunai are on the left side of your hip, and shuriken are on the right. Your bow is right below your left breast, and each set of 20 arrows is below your right, all the way down to your navel. There are 10 seals, and the one on top is also holding your quiver. On the front of your right thigh is a seal with soldier pills, and on the back of your right thigh is a kunai with exploding tags. Now, I want you both to add some chakra to each of your seals. It will be your starting point and tell you how much chakra you need to get one weapon. So make it as small as possible so you don't have to think about it for more than a split second. Naruto told them why he was doing what he had told them to do. Once everything was done, Shino and Naruto put on simple tuxedos, and the three of them went down to the ballroom. As soon as they walked in, they saw that there were already a few workers and a few guests in the room. The three of them went off to work, but they kept a close eye on the guests. Within an hour, every seat in the ballroom was taken, and Yashin walked in. "Hello, everyone. This night has all the makings of a big deal. But we have to eat first," he shouted, and people cheered loudly. Yashin sat down at the biggest table with the people Naruto, Shino, and Hinata knew to be the crime bosses. Along with other workers, the three people started bringing out food and putting it on the tables. As people ate, there was a lot of talk in the room. Soon after they were done, people started to ask for sake, but Yashin stood up and waved them away before the workers could go get it. "Now, my friends, I'd like to make you an offer that will help us all. Orochimaru, who has been missing for a while, has asked a lot of my ninja to help him with his plan to destroy Konoha. I said yes, but I soon realized that my forces weren't even close to being enough to do what he asked. So, that's why I gathered you all here. I want us to become one crime family and rule together as equals," Yashin told me. A lot of people in the room raised their eyebrows at the man. Hinata, Naruto, and Shino almost dropped their jaws when they heard the news. "You say we should be equal co-rulers. How would we do that?" From his seat, a big man asked. "Figo-san, we will have a council with the head of each family as a member. We will meet once a week to talk about important issues and vote on the best way to solve them," Yashin told him. Figo nodded. "What is the plot of Orochimaru, and when is it?" A tall, dark-skinned man with a mustache asked. "Orochimaru wants to attack his old village during the last part of the Chunin exams that are coming up," Yashin told him. Naruto looked at Hinata and Shino for a moment and then nodded. With a quick sign of his hand, Naruto's shadow clones filled the room and quickly killed as many of the stunned people as they could. Before joining the clones, Hinata and Shino added chakra to their seals to draw their bow and staff, respectively. Before the crime boss knew what was going on, the room was full of the bodies of their goons. Naruto, Hinata, and Shino landed in front of them with their weapons drawn and ready. "We can't let you help the betrayer attack our village. You can no longer live," Shino said. Hinata raised her bow and shot an arrow right at Yashin. Just as the arrow was about to hit him in the head, a man grabbed it and broke it in half. "Even though you are strong enough to take all of our men, and not even look tired, you kids are being stupid. We are all at least Jounin level. I'm sorry to tell you this, but this will be your last room," Yashin began, but when he looked down, he stopped. The man then saw a red blade go through his chest. The man turned around to see Naruto holding a trench knife into his back. The man then smiled, which surprised Naruto. The gang leader turned into vines and wrapped around Naruto before he could move. As the blonde struggled, Yashin came out and put a kunai to his throat. But a chakra tail got in the way. "So you were born in Konoha and are a demon. I'll enjoy killing you, you evil thing," Yashin answered with a smile, but before he could say anything else, a tail of chakra shot through his head from behind. As the body fell to the ground, Naruto smiled. "Like you could," Naruto said with a snort, and the vines snapped off of him like tissue paper, letting everyone know that the blonde was just pretending to be trapped. "Now, as my teammate told you, your lives are over," Naruto said with a smirk, and his eyes were red as fire. Naruto ran at the men as they started to pull out their weapons. Hinata and Shino attacked the men on the other side, and the group split in half. 5 of them went after Naruto, while the other 4 went after Hinata and Shino. Naruto knew almost right away that, unlike Yashin, these men wouldn't die easily. When Naruto was about to kill one of them, 2 others would attack him, and the one Naruto was about to kill would help the other member. Naruto got tired of their game after a while, so he shot his chakra tails at the 5 gang leaders. The men moved to the side, but Naruto smirked, and spikes of red chakra shot out of his tails and pierced the men. Just as Naruto pulled his tails back, a single person took out a handful of senbon and threw them at Naruto. The blonde tilted his head, but when the man laughed as he fell to the ground, he gasped. Naruto turned around to see Hinata blocking a katana with her bow just as the senbon went through her throat. Naruto was there and caught her before she could hit the ground. "And Naruto-kun, I need to tell you something." Hinata spoke quietly. "Don't worry, we'll get you out of here." Just be quiet and save your energy. Naruto answered as his chakra tails blocked attacks that people tried to make on the two of them while they were busy. Hinata gave a nod. I have to say this. She spoke in a whisper and each word made her voice softer. And Naruto-kun, I love you. What? As Hinata took her last breath, Naruto asked, why? Hinata closed her eyes and a scary feeling filled the air. Everyone, including Shino, instinctively moved away from the silent blonde. Then, all at once, his tail started flailing around wildly, breaking everything they touched. Shino used a shunshin to get to a safe place when he thought he might be in danger. The gang leaders, on the other hand, jumped back in shock and watched as the tails started to get darker, changing from a clear red to a deep blood red with black spots. Once all of Naruto's tails had changed color, he was surrounded by a tight skin-like shell. Naruto got up and turned around to face the men while still holding Hinata. His eyes were just white circles, and his face was black, like a mask. You are to blame. I'll kill you. I will kill you all and destroy this city. Naruto rumbled, and his voice became deeper and more evil. The men backed away from the angry boy out of fear, but Naruto let out a ferocious roar at them that blew them and the whole side of the building away. As Naruto walked slowly toward the rumble where the men were, their tails grew until they were as big as trees. As long as the tails kept swinging wildly and getting bigger, they started destroying the mansion. Naruto then put Hinata on his back, and as soon as he did, one of his tails shrunk back to normal size and gently wrapped around Hinata and Naruto to keep her on his back. Naruto was hoping that the chaos his attack had caused would start to move. The boy glared at him and then raised his arm. A huge chakra arm appeared. The arm was twice as big as the mansion they were staying in, and it destroyed what was left of it. Naruto slammed the chakra arm down on the spot where he had seen movement. When he moved his hand, he saw a large pool of blood forming under the rumble, which made him laugh. Workers, too, Naruto guessed with a shrug before he swung his arm and destroyed the nearest building. Panicked screams filled the air until Naruto grew his hand bigger and blew up the building, turning it into dust. Naruto let out a growl, and his tail shot forward, grew bigger, and started knocking down buildings. Naruto then used his arms to break down the buildings. Just as the boy was about to move, a rock hit him in the head. When Naruto turned around, he saw a big group of men standing there with many different kinds of weapons. Naruto gave the group a smirk, and then a small black ball started to form in front of his mouth. When the ball stopped growing, the blonde ate it, which surprised the crowd. Naruto's arms suddenly shrunk back to normal size and dug into the ground. Naruto's body began to get bigger and bigger until he looked like he was about to burst. Naruto opened his mouth and let out a muffled growl. A huge beam of energy shot toward the crowd, destroying them and everything in that direction as far as the eye could see. Naruto roared into the sky and shot a wave of energy into nothing. Looking down, the boy kept destroying the once beautiful city until there was nothing left but rumble and blood stains. When Naruto saw that there was nothing else to kill, he pulled back his chakra and held Hinata once more. When Naruto looked at her face, he shed one tear. The blonde let out a sigh as he pulled the senbon out of her neck and dropped to his knees. When Naruto heard footsteps, his red transparent tail shot out from his lower back. When Naruto turned around, he saw Anko and Shino coming toward him. Wow, brat, your tantrums aren't funny at all, Anko said as he looked at the city's ruins. Naruto looked back at Hinata and said, she's dead. It says so in the job ad. She knew there was a chance she would die as soon as she started shinobi training. Anko replied, I know, and she told me she loved me, he said. Naruto answered. Shino and Anko did nothing but look at the blonde. No one has ever said that except for my Yamato. Why would she care about me? I'm a bad person. I blew up this city. How? Why should she care about me? You let Kyuubi get control. Naruto stopped Anko before she could finish. No, it's true. I did all of this. I knew what I was doing and I want to tell you something. It felt amazing. I liked hearing them scream. I was happy when I saw their looks of pain, anguish, helplessness, and fear. When I saw their blood and ashes, I was so happy. Naruto told her to stop. Anko just looked away. There was an awkward silence in the area. I think we should go back to the village. Shino broke the silence with a word. You are correct. Let's go. Naruto carry Hinata. Anko gave the order, and the three of them left for Konoha.
So this was it for today. I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.